Hello YouTube, old Steeler guy here. Few updates on free agency. Steelers picked up Nate Herbig from the Jets. Don't really understand why they did that. They got some pretty decent interior linemen, and I don't think he's really better than any of the ones they got, but maybe they know something I don't. They also are signing Cole Holcomb from the Commanders, not the Redskins anymore, the Commanders. He had a pretty decent season 2 years ago. Last year he was injured, and I think I saw where that whole deal is contingent on him passing a physical, which that makes sense. They lost Robert Spillane. I mean, for what the Raiders paid him, I think I'm kind of glad to see him go. And, of course, the big news today, Aaron Rodgers had his whole entourage on the Pat McAfee show, was supposed to make a decision, and nothing. Nothing. Not really. Of course, I guess he doesn't realize the decision isn't up to him. His contract's still owned by the Packers. If the Packers don't want to trade him, they don't have to. Aaron Rodgers, the Packers own you. Just saying. Anyway, I did want to put up something else as far as that Stratomatic type football game I've been working on. Let me put this matrix on the screen just a second here. Okay, I'll put up the graphic I had on yesterday's video of what I called the Fahrenheit 452 defense. Of course, the Eagles re-signed James Bradbury, but what's in a name anyhow? Now I'll put up the matrix for that defense for my game. I'm sure this will look like hieroglyphics to most people. I'll try to explain it as best I can. This is the matrix for the defense. Now, every offensive play would have a similar matrix. I used a D6 for my basis. You could use anything if you're coding it on a computer. I ran a little bit of code with some other stuff on this in Python, and I got some of it working, but I don't like object-based languages. It's too hard to control the variables in them. I think I might go back to BASIC. It's like Fortran. BASIC is basically Fortran, or Fortran's basically BASIC. But anyhow, on the bottom there, you'll see all the running plays. If the offense calls a running play, say they went off right tackle, you'd roll. There would be a random number generated between 1 and 6 for the defense. There'd also be one for the offense. I don't have an offensive play drawn up this neatly, and this isn't even all that neat. But say you rolled a 2 on the right tackle. That means that the left cornerback, who's at whatever's in that position, you would check against his rating. I rate players from 0 to 6. That means the average player would be a 3. Yeah, ratings, as far as ratings go, I mean, read Bill James's abstract on how talent's distributed. In baseball, it's the same way in football. You're going to have very few elite players, but you have very many. You've got a lot of what he called replacement level players. But anyhow, getting back to this, suppose you rolled a 2, you'd roll against the cornerback or a linebacker, who's ever playing there. If he passes, there's only a +1 adjustment to the running back's column. I have different columns. I don't know whether I'm going to distribute them in half a yard average or a third of a yard average yet. I have some tables drawn up for that. And if he fails, it's +4. So you generally are going to get a longer gain if the player misses misses his rating. But if he's blitzing and he passes, it's a -2 on the column shift. So that would make it less likely he'd gain a lot of yards. And then for passing, again, I mentioned yesterday, I'm trying to develop what the passing percentage would be on short, medium, and long passes. You see there, like for the short right, it would be who's ever defending against the pass. Say he rolled a 2. The completion percentage would be -10 if the defender made his check, +10 if he missed it. I also have yardage in there. That would assume that assuming the pass is caught, that would be an adjustment on how many yards he gets. I also have a pass rush in there. That's a separate table where to determine if there's a sack on the play or if the quarterback gets pressured. I have a whole list for that. And there's different ratings too on the offensive players, like the receivers. I have 3 different ratings for them: how well they run their routes, how fast they are. I don't think I have on this one. I also have their YAC, their yards after catch. And quarterbacks likewise. I think I only have read for the quarterback on this one. That's actually a very important mechanic in my game that I'm designing. Because quarterbacks got to learn to read the defenses. I mean, that's really the best skill, I think, that anybody can have. If you can have all the talent in the world, but if you can't read a defense, you're going to end up throwing a lot of interceptions. And like I say, this is the matrix, how it would play out, and a similar one for the offense. I just figured I'd throw that out there if anybody's interested. I mean, I played Madden back when it was on DOS, and it's a fun game, but now it's just about pushing buttons. It's not about thinking, which I think that says a lot about the country now. Everybody's just worried about pushing buttons. They don't think anymore. Just my little political statement from the soapbox. Anyway, if you watched, thanks. If you didn't, well, then you're missing out. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and Aaron, just retire. Or stay in Green Bay. Don't go to New York. Don't turn out like Brett Favre.